All right, guys, I'm just going to move that around a little bit and I'll be kind of looking the other way. So we are live right now. And what I am going to do is welcome everybody. So everybody, before we get started, I just want to give you just a quick teaser of what it is that we're talking about tonight. So, tonight is kind of personal. This is episode 50 of We Are Black Independent. 50
we
episodes.
Survived.
Yes. I can't believe we've done it. Pretty much.
It wasn't that difficult. We did have some trial and errors, but we still are learning. But we're doing, in my opinion, quite well.
Yeah, well, it's 50 episodes of choosing substance over sound bites. So 50 conversations grounded in Black history, independent Black thought, and Black accountability without allegiance to any one political party or institutions that often ask us to be silent or to wait. So tonight we're going to honor two ways truth moves through our world: through storytelling, the courage to write what others avoid, and through education. And that's the courage to teach in systems that weren't necessarily built with Black children in mind. So this is episode 50, called Black Voices, Writing with Truth, Teaching with Courage. So I'm going to ask you guys to stay with us. After about a minute, we will be right back. Let me get, I'm doing too much. So right now,
to the Black Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the Black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property, we're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation, and now we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Okay, let's get to work, Mona. Let's get to work. So everybody, welcome back.
We need to get to work.
What'd you say?
Every day in America, we see we need to get to work even more so.
Even more so. And I'm hoping that our audience is really paying attention to what's going on around them, because it's critical. It is absolutely critical that you find what it is that you do, what you can do. We can't all do the same thing, but that's okay, because we're not marching. We're going to move different. And that's pretty much our tagline. We're not marching anymore, but we can move different. But what is that different for you? So if this is your first time joining us, what'd you say?
And how that looks. I mean, yesterday I was gone all day. And I get home about maybe 10:30. I go downstairs and I pick up my phone and we have another killing. It's like,
I know. I thought for a minute when I first saw it come through into my feed, I said, this must be a joke. This can't be. This cannot be. And I had to go and try to verify it in several different places to say, this is real. It is so blatant. And I had to make sure. It's like, is this a white guy or is this a Black guy? Now, why that is important? It is important because we're not marching in those streets. So it must be a white guy. And if it is a white guy, what does that mean for the country? What does that mean for the white race? Do they mobilize or do they still sit back? So, that's a whole nother subject for us. And maybe we can talk about that. But you know, audience, if you've been with us from the beginning, tonight is a milestone that we will share with you. Episode 50 isn't really about looking back for applause. It's about reaffirming why this space exists. So Moni and I thought we should toast ourselves. I brought my wine. To you, Mona, and your steadfastness and your authenticity that you bring to this show. I am honored to do this with you. You can toast.
I am honored.
Mm-hmm. All right, so enough of the pomp and circumstance. We talked about doing this a while ago, and we're just amazed actually that we have actually made it to 50 shows. So whoop whoop, we are really
You
glad.
remember when we started talking about it probably at 38, and I was like a 40, I don't know. And I was like, dang, we're almost close to 50. We should do something to celebrate. And here we are.
And here we are. I'm thrilled. This platform, folks, especially if you're new, was created to center Black voices. We want Black voices that speak with honesty, especially when honesty is uncomfortable. This means we are decentering whiteness in our lives. That's not a bad thing, but it is sort of prioritizing your issues. So tonight, we're highlighting two of those Black voices. In our first segment, we've got T.J. Williams, a very, very good friend, a local author who uses fiction to confront injustice. And I was thinking, well, how's she going to do that? And then I listened to the book, and she did it beautifully, and she's going to tell us all about that. And in our second segment, we've got April Cobbs. And I know a lot of you out there know April because April is all over the place when it relates to education, making sure that Black children get what they need. And when she's not able to do it by herself, she's not afraid to put it out there to the community and sometimes shame us into making sure that we are giving and making sure our kids get what they need. So she's an extraordinary educator. She's an education activist and an Ida B. Wells Award finalist whose work reminds us that teaching is actually an act of courage. So it's going to be a good show tonight, Mona.
I think it is. Two fantastic Black females. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Locals. Oh, we got so much talent here in the Bay Area. It's pretty amazing. So tonight, please welcome T.J. Williams. She's the author of Collide, The Forbidden Love. And this story isn't simply a romance novel. And I'm going to ask, can you bring it up?
Yeah, some kind of way, it just looked like her camera just went off. I have her up. TJ, you might have to log off and log back on because I don't see her backstage anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see her here, but I don't see her camera.
I see her, but I don't see the camera. Yes. I mean, I see the, that's what I'm telling
the
her
blank.
To log off. Yes.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and play.
Let's play her video.
Ooh, you know what? Yeah, here we are. Add to the stage. Yes, ma'am. Here we go. Y'all, this is a really good book. And there is TJ.
I
Hey,
can't hear you
TJ.
guys. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
We could hear her.
I
Can
know,
you
but
guys hear me and
can you
see me
hear?
now?
yes,
Yes.
can you hear us?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.
I don't know
I'm
that she can hear
honored
us.
to be here. I am TJ Williams, pseudonym Titan Jordan, and I am the author of Collide the Forbidden Love. Professionally, I've spent over two decades as a senior executive working across financial services, technology, and highly regulated industries. However, I chose fiction. I chose to write fiction intentionally because sometimes storytelling allows us to examine hard truths
Mhm.
in ways that facts and headlines cannot. And I'm really hoping that Collide sparks conversation, reflection, and empathy, because love doesn't exist in a vacuum, and neither does justice.
Oh my God, I learned that just reading the book, you guys.
Can you guys hear me? I can't hear Jeanette. I see your
I am talking,
I-
so she cannot
We
hear
do hear
us.
her.
So, right, but we need
We
for
can hear
her
you.
to hear us. Just one second.
Right.
I think we had this problem before. You remember?
I can't hear Jeanette.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
Mona, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then why don't you take the lead on this interview with her, and I'll do follow up and that
So
type
I
thing.
don't know why I can't hear Jeanette.
I don't know.
Try to figure it out, Jeanette. Just put your turn your mic off and turn it back on. It should work.
So Mona, are you able to hear Jeanette, or is it just me?
Yeah, now I'm able to hear. Well, I'm just gonna start off. TJ, thank you, thank you. I love the intro. And I guess my first question would be, what was maybe the moment or the experience that made you say, "This is the story. This is the story I need to write right now," particularly when I look at what's going on in America, especially knowing that some people it's going to be uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, this is a very controversial story. At at its heart, Collide the Forbidden Love is about what happens when love collides with systems that were never built to protect everyone equally. It's a
Okay.
story about it's a story about two people who fall in love, but it's also about the invisible forces around them: race, privilege, silence,
Yeah.
fear, and power. So this isn't just a romance; it's a social mirror, if you will. The book
Mhm.
asks uncomfortable questions. Um, for example, it asks, who gets to be believed, who gets
Yeah.
protected,
Yeah.
who gets sacrificed when the truth becomes inconvenient.
Yes.
um so that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. And when I haven't read the book, but I just did a brief research of the book, and as I was over it, and I'm looking at the white nationalist Christians, and it's like, already they're going to have an issue with this, and they're going to really want to push back on it. And when they're really um, talking about hierarchies and um, stand in racial, not crossing over,
Hmm.
So, yeah,
well
that was one of the. Go ahead.
Basically what I want to share is for those individuals who are, pretty much that may be skeptical, about the book, or may have some concern that maybe there is some blame in this book. That's not what this book is about, right?
Oh, sure.
This book is not about blaming anyone. It's not about putting anyone, at fault. It's about responsibility. That's what the book is about.
Mhm.
Blame
Mhm.
looks for someone to punish. Responsibility
Yes.
asks what must change, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Collide does allow individuals, families, institutions, and systems. Actually, it doesn't allow any of these to hide behind ignorance or tradition, right? And in this case,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that the reader understands that what accountability means in this case. And accountability means acknowledging harm, even when
Mhm.
it's not intentional. It means
Mhm.
choosing courage over comfort.
Mhm.
So for those who are a little bit
We,
skeptical, I want them to understand what the book is really about.
So
I
let
can
me
always
interrupt.
read.
Let me interrupt real quick, and I know she cannot hear
I'm so
me.
sorry, it cut out.
Can you hear me? No.
I can't
All right.
hear.
So she cannot hear me, but I don't know
Why
if
can
you
I
can
hear? I
see.
can't hear.
Oh, no, that's
Can I?
okay. Tell her that's okay.
One second, TJ. She wants to ask a question, and she's going to give it to me, and I'll deliver it to you.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I'm
Now,
so sorry.
I'm getting a lot of questions on from YouTube. So can you see
Okay.
them?
YouTube.
Do you see the
Let me
YouTube?
see.
So Tree X Ford 5446
Yep.
says, was there a chapter? And I think
Yep.
this is a great question. Was there a chapter or section that was especially hard or meaningful to write? And having
Yeah.
listened to the book, that's a good question.
Okay. So,
Was there?
TJ,
Yes.
I could see the YouTube questions, Jeanette. So I got
Okay,
yes.
great. Okay.
TJ, so we have a question on YouTube,
Okay.
and the question is: was there a chapter or a section that was especially hard or meaningful to write?
Oh, yes. There is a section within the book that
Okay.
is heart wrenching to me because I have um, grandsons, and
Mm-hmm.
just how the Black male are being portrayed and how their lives are devalued. So it was really hard for me to write about the section where um, an innocent Black man was accused of something that he didn't do simply because someone who looked a lot different than him made a statement, and which changed his life. So that could
Mm-hmm.
actually happen to any of our kids, any of our husbands, our children. So that was really
Really?
hard. It was heart wrenching.
Yeah,
But
it was.
I felt the story needed to be told.
Yeah. I was so surprised that she put that in because it is our experience. And she's able to share that in the context of this story of two white girls telling
I
a
know she's
lie.
talking and I
And
can't
then,
hear anything, but
yeah, it's okay, but I need the audience to know my reaction
She's
to what she
paraphrasing, so
puts in
just
that
give her.
book. So
Yes.
there are more questions, but can you ask her question 3 about Frederica Cunningham?
So I don't have your questions.
Frederica Cunningham is a powerful, grounded character. What does she represent? So it's too much. So you don't have my questions at all, or any? You go ahead.
so
You
I can
take.
kind of give a general if that works. I don't.
Tell her no. Tell her no.
Well,
You've got the questions, but
well, well. I,
read from YouTube. Read from YouTube because those questions are really good as well.
Should I exit and try to come back one more time, real quick?
no, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. It
No, the
is
reason that
apparently
I can't exit, if I exit, we
I can't hear
lose
Jeanette.
all of the
it'll shut the whole
supports
it'll shut the whole system down. So
for
yes,
me.
you cannot. Right, for you cannot exit. But I want to know the meaning are forbidding. And I know what the meaning is, but tell me the title includes
What
that
happened?
word, and who or what is really declaring this love forbidding? Family, culture, system of fear.
So technically all of those things, right? Um, so
Mhm.
this I don't really, I mean, it is a romance in a sense, right? However, however, um, what inspired me to write this story is the this story is about real pain, right? This is pain that we see repeatedly in headlines and in courtrooms and even in our community. Yet
Absolutely.
somehow it's still treated as isolated incidents.
Sure.
So you have like the wrongful accusations within the story, sexual violence, racial profiling, the the quiet protection of privilege, if you will, and the silence of
Mm-hmm.
truth. So what makes this forbidden is generally what would happen is if you have someone that would have all this privilege, they would, you know, they may not come in contact with someone um, that is aligned to Frederica's family status. So that's what makes it difficult. That's why it's considered a forbidden love.
Okay. Yeah, you did connect that to me. So we still have look like Tree Ford once. He said one last question. And I don't think he said if someone is on the fence about reading the book, what would you want them to know? And I would say, particularly coming from our community, we shouldn't be on the fence about reading the book because this is for us a lived experience. What would you say?
So if there is someone that's hesitant about reading the book, regardless, our community or whomever, it's important to understand that this book isn't here to accuse. This
Mhm.
book is to reveal. You don't
Okay.
have to agree with every character to learn from their humanity. If you believe in equality, justice, and shared humanity, well then this story challenges you. It'll challenge you to live those values and not just claim them. Collide isn't about choosing sides. It's about choosing the truth.
Okay.
I'm
Wow.
going to
So
talk, but she's not going to hear
the
me.
feedback we're getting from YouTube is great. It's gonna make me buy this
I
book.
know, but I
Um,
want to talk because and tell her to just chill. I just want to react to the book and the characters. She's right. It's not about choosing.
okay.
Once you are in and you're reading the characters, you might start out and says, okay, two white girls are fudging or creating fake IDs to go out. But then what happens? And then the lie that they use, which incriminates the young man, the black
I
man,
wish I could read
takes us
lips.
right, brings us all into the story. Because now you're
Mhm.
saying, this happens right down the street from me, if not in my own family. And I tell you, she's very skilled at taking you from that incident into the connections. I'm telling you, it's not even an issue of do I want to read this book or am I offended? She handles each character in a way that's truthful and honest with how they dealt with the situation, even to, in one case, death, or two cases, death, but her care for telling the truth of our experience is
Mhm.
amazing. So I
I
was
really wish
pretty
I could hear
with that. I know.
or
I
even read
tell her,
lips.
See,
tell her you're here.
well, she was just explaining the book to the audience, the characters, and she's doing you justice. Um,
I love her.
and so, what coming from what she just said, I would say, I would ask because I didn't read the book. Did you write this book more for people who have these realities, or for people who might be insulated from them, or for all?
Like I said earlier, I wanted to reveal. So
Okay.
even though
That's the answer.
individuals, certain individuals will say they can empathize with us, sometimes it has
Mhm.
to be written. And that's why I wanted to put it in a story to just
Okay.
kind of tell the truth about what's happening. And honestly, the thing that I want people to walk away with, I hope people walk away unsettled when they read this
Mm,
book, okay? But awakened. I want
okay.
them to question the
Who did that?
assumptions they've inherited, the narratives that they've accepted without scrutiny, and even the silence that they may have mistaken for neutrality. So more than anything, I want readers to feel empathy, not just for the
Mhm.
characters they relate to, but the ones who challenge them. Because growth begins when comfort ends.
Wow.
Well,
Tell her.
Jeanette said that you accomplished that. You accomplished, because when you, at first when you said you want people to, when they finish the book, to be unsettled. I don't know how
Mm.
I feel sometimes when I get through with the book and I'm not, and I'm unsettled. But then when you came back and said empathy and so on, yeah. So Jeanette said that, Jeanette, what would you like to do
But
closing?
you know, I want to say when you finish the book, you leave with not a sense of, okay, the end, everybody's living happily ever after. You leave with this sense of this couple has a lot of work ahead of them. It's kind of like, let's get to work. And so
Yes.
you have this sense of their understanding of the magnitude of the moment that they're in. And I parallel that with where we are today in society, where CJ sort of represents white society trying to figure their way out, right, of
Mm-hmm.
this of where they've been, and this new iteration of where they are today. And I see Frederica as Black society, especially Black women who are in the know, we know, and that we hold people accountable for their own growth. Will be there, but you've got to make those, we hold people accountable. He does that great with two characters, and I see that happening right in society. And I'm like, did she do this on purpose? I know I said a lot, but she'll
So
have to get it when she does the thing. But it's just a good read, and I'm getting people
yeah,
that agree with it.
one of the comments on Facebook said it was an incredible, powerful at the same time. So we're gonna
Awesome.
have her back.
I would love to. There's also a sequel coming out. There is more
Oh,
drama.
okay,
And
let her know
so,
that too. When I finish, and based on what she said on those last pages, so to speak, because I listened to it, I was like, there's another book. There's another book coming.
Yes,
I could tell. Tell her I could
yes.
tell there was
It,
another
it
book
was,
coming.
Jeanette said that on the last couple of pages, the cliffhanger, she absolutely knew that it would be a sequel coming through. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
awesome.
I'm ready for it.
we definitely look forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you
I
guys
am
so much. I really
definitely ready
appreciate this
for it.
opportunity. I love what you guys are doing. This is amazing. So, just the opportunity to speak with you guys and share my thoughts and parts of my dream. I love writing. And like I said, there's more to come.
Thank you.
So
Hold on.
this is your
I'm going to
this
put up your book, and I want you to tell the audience how they could purchase it, how they could get in contact with you, or follow you on all social media.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I do have social media. It is Titan Jordan Empire. And I have, of course, Instagram. I have Facebook. The book is available at Amazon. So you guys can go jump on Amazon. Everything's at Amazon and get the book on Amazon. You can also get it through Audible. So if you just like to listen, if you're one of those people that are busy or you have those long commutes, this is an amazing book to listen to. So please go out and get it. I promise you'll enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you,
I promise
TJ, and we
you.
certainly will have you back.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Right, let's take it down.
You got her?
Now I'm trying to find her.
Awesome book. I am so once I found it and I was like, watch you bring her back on because I know that you're looking for her. But amazing book. And I really feel horrible that I was not able to speak with her directly because I did have a lot of questions even about the characters.
I know.
And I apologize that I had to go through you to try to, okay, ask her this question, ask her this question. And I do have a lot that's written here, but folks, I really want to encourage you, especially for our Black authors, especially for our first-time Black authors. And TJ comes from a lot of experience in the IT world. She understands the issues that Black people, especially in white spaces, have to navigate. And she does that. She speaks to it beautifully through these college kids that meet and develop this unlikely, forbidden relationship that really does impact the lives of both families, and you will enjoy it. So we mentioned to you where you can certainly get the book. I encourage you, even if you don't want to read, as she said, by all means, listen to it. I just really enjoyed it. So nice.
So looking,
Segment.
we really haven't had any technical issues once we got into the and on our 50th, we're having technical issues because I do not see our next guest backstage. Do you?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the tech. She could not hear me because last time it was the person could not hear you. This time it was me, and I'm sure you didn't like that. I certainly didn't.
Yeah, no.
But the conversation really reminds us people that fiction doesn't escape reality. It can confront it. And TJ did say to us, sometimes when you want to tell the truth and deal with the truth, if you take real people out of it and use fictional characters, it makes it a little easier for you to see what you ordinarily would not see because of ties you might have to an individual. So stories like Collide ask us not to feel, but to reflect and to question and to take responsibility.
I would ask you, in today's society, and I know that we should be moving further along.
Right.
We want that type of relationship or that type of struggle for your kids.
You said we would want or what? Ask me the question again. I'm sorry.
I was saying, would you want that for one of your kids or one of your nieces or nephews? That type of struggle.
The struggle had a lot to do with the fact that it was a Black-white relationship, two families, one Black, one white, one poor, one very affluent, rich, very influential. So I didn't necessarily see it for the two individuals. As I mentioned, I saw it as a community thing. And would I want that for my son or daughter if they were strong enough? If I know I raised someone who could handle? Say that again?
How strong can one be without being broken, particularly when we're hearing what is going on right now? And when
I don't know.
when
no
I got the
offense.
book and looked at the op-eds, and when I look at this pastor, Joe Webinan, it is how society is moving right now. This is
Right.
what he's talking against. He is really talking against interracial marriage.
Yeah. I don't know about this pastor speaking against it, but I will say this. I know that I did not want to have an interracial marriage. I see it more and more in my feeds. Um, I think, especially for the times that we're in and where we are going, and the literature has said years ago that the browning of America would occur. That's why I think the Republicans are having such a hissy fit, because they don't like that. Never have. They never liked it that's why there was miscegenation laws and what have you to keep us apart. Well, their children are definitely intermarrying. Now, to the question of strength of my child, TJ really did a great job of demonstrating the strength of this Black young woman in this story. And if in fact that is real, that kind of strength, that level of strength, to see that where she's being sort of shunned by him when he's around his friends, and her friends recognizing that, and her being able to withstand that. I know how difficult that can be, going to visit his family and being rejected by the family right there in her face, and her being able to withstand that, but also giving her boyfriend, CJ, the strength to choose. And what he had to leave behind was pretty great. So you're watching TJ say to us that the growth that needs to occur likely will come from our children in particular, but young people ourselves, really encouraging the next to take that next step. And all of that happens within the context of a relationship. And how strong is the relationship going to be? And I think that's what's happening in society right now. I think that Black people took a step back, which was the best thing. And I say this all the time, one of the best things we could have ever done. But we do have a relationship with white society, although it's precarious and it's not sure. And in some areas it's stronger than others. But now white society has to look at itself and confront its privilege in this case, the privilege that CJ had, now the privilege that white society has, and it has to deal with themselves before they can grow. And in the book, Frederica was stepped away so that he could have that time to grow. It's an amazing parallel, and it's probably why I enjoyed the book in as much as I did, because I could see the political ramifications of the story and how that paralleled. But to your question,
So
I think our children are going to.
As he grows, do the family grow?
Family took longer to grow, but he had to grow before the family could grow, right? So he had to walk away from all of that wealth and what have you, and he had to also reveal a secret that the family had that devastated the family, in essence, right? So he had to grow in order for them to grow. And did they grow along with him? It took a while for them to grow, but they eventually grew. Now, that happened with a Black woman, right, who had a lot of pain for herself, which she discovers later was caused by his family, right? But she's able to grow herself, causing him to grow, which caused the others to grow. It's just crazy. But if you read it, and you read it within that
Now,
context.
was she able to grow versus forgive and let go. Sounds like a Harry and Meghan Markle sort of
Forgive
relationship there.
and let go. Forgive and let go. I think
No,
that's a
forgive,
part of
or did she forgive, or she just let go to keep the guy or to keep the peace?
I'm going to say no. Yeah, and I'm going to say that with, you know what, I want to think about that a little bit more, but I'm going to say no, because at some point you say to the other person, you know, this is where I'm going, this is who I am, and this is what you did to my family. You kept this secret in this case, and they were able to work out those differences. Well, I'll be darned.
Okay.
They were able to work out those differences. You think you're doing something and you don't plug your phone in
Oh wow.
and it dies.
All right.
But anyway,
So
it's a
you would
really
give
good
it
read.
you, you would give it a 5-star.
I would give it a 5-star. I was really hesitant about it at first when I first read it. And I was like, excuse me, white folks. It's about two white girls that are going out to a party, the first chapter. And it's kind of like, da, 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 da. And then they meet and then whatever. And then enter DeShante, right? And then you learn about DeShante, but you don't make that connection yet. So she's really set this up for a great movie, if it were, because you've got these two parallel lives going, and then they intersect, they collide, so to speak. And she did that really well.
How she gets the title, because I thought the title was interesting, collide,
Yeah.
and you just brought it together. So
Yep.
the family colliding together.
Definitely a collision that occurred, and even the meeting of the Frederica and CJ, another collision that occurred with a secret between that needed to come out at some point. I love that we are writing really interesting, thought-provoking things.
Yeah.
And it's not all in the sort of the real biographical, or it's not all in that genre. We're also venturing into fiction, like Addie's books. So we can find more of those, that's great. And they can just tell us the stories that we need to hear so that we can see ourselves and potentially grow as a result of it. I think that's a book where people can grow, Black, white, or indifferent.
What age what age target would you think would this book best suit?
I think,
of course, it could definitely be all age, because you said you enjoyed it, but would it be a particular young people, in
yeah,
their
I think young people
mid-20s?
would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think,
So-
I'm trying to going through the book. I think 16-year-olds could. I mean, because these girls were young and they were, getting the false ID to go to a club, and they like to wear makeup and blah blah blah. So it's a lesson for us to learn. The earlier you can learn that of age, the better, in terms of how devastating lies could be to protect your own, and that's what these girls did. But it's a story, it's a recurring story in the Black community. She's exposing that in a story, a love story. And that's what makes it so interesting.
I'm always looking for ideas for parents. I still give my daughter Valentine baskets and things. That would be a nice book for just about anyone. We're still
Right.
we still have to be intentional on how we're spending our money, supporting Black business, supporting Black authors, and so on.
Angela was asking if we could show the book again, the name and the author. So there you are, Angela. And we're about to.
and we will put it in our description. Let me call my
You keep,
niece.
yeah, you keep saying that, and now I never do. But okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
guys, we we promised you that I got to pull that off the stage. We promised you a second segment, and we are as excited about this second segment
hold on. I'm calling
today.
her right now to see what's going on.
Okay.
Oh, she's there.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Ready?
folks, when we talk about truth, responsibility, and uncomfortable conversations um, in books, the next question is where those conversations go next. Um, for many of us, they land in classrooms, at the workplace, what have you. But in the classrooms, they're carried by educators who are asked to teach the truth, while at the same time navigating systems that don't always necessarily protect them. So, folks, recognition matters, um, but impact matters more. And this young lady tonight um, has more impact in her little pinky than most of the people that I know that walk on this earth. So tonight we're talking with an educator whose work speaks much louder than any title and whose recognition as an Ida S. Baker Award finalist reflects years of commitment to students and community. Welcome,
Wow.
welcome, Ms. Campbell Cobbs. Yeah, I was going to say, when I saw you with that award, and we're going to pull that up. Can you pull that in, Mona? I was like, they didn't get her name right. I'm going to have to call them and tell them they need to get her name right. So thank you for correcting me that it's Cobbs Campbell.
Can you actually hear me, Jeanette?
I can.
Okay, great. And Mona?
Yes, and I'm glad that you could hear Jeanette. I don't know what was going on. That was kind of strange the first
Yeah,
segment.
sometimes
Yeah,
when you
it's
have two
happened
people in
to
the
us
background, it
Yes.
will do
Yeah.
that. It'll do that for some look.
And that's why we checked
StreamYard.
before you guys come on. It was working fine because we
It
do a
was.
mic check before, so it was working fine. So we're just so honored to have you here tonight, April. You know that we all think you are just a goddamn superstar.
She's the ever ready bunny that just won't stop.
Yes, she's
Look.
always full of energy and she's always on the go. Yes.
So
y'all,
definitely,
for those,
thank you all for having me. And it's April Campbell Cobb. It's a whole story behind that. When I started in the district, I was Campbell. Then 3 months later, I got married and it switched over. And I've tried to switch it numerous times, but it always would fall off in the system. So at some point, I said, you know what? It doesn't matter as long as my check is correct. We're good. So I just stopped messing with it. And yeah, because it could be a little challenging when there's no hyphen in the name. For those that have a hyphen, it goes well. For those of us that don't, maybe not. Well, at least for me.
Yeah.
Thank you all for considering me for this opportunity tonight.
Oh, I couldn't help it. I'm seeing you on Facebook, and I think I want to play something that you said, and I love the way that you get awards for things, and if people want to commend you on things, you always talk about the people around you. But you know what, guys? For those who do not know, Ida S. Baker was a Florida educator and civil rights advocate whose work centered equity, access, and excellence in public education. She dedicated her career to expanding opportunities to Black students and strengthening the role of educators as leaders and transformational change agents. So the Hillsborough Education Foundation Excellence in Education Awards event was last week. And tell us about that experience And then I want to, if I need to, I'm going to play that video, but I want you to just tell us about that experience because I love the way you talk about it.
I would say from beginning to end, it was an overall good experience. A lot of individuals don't understand the how the final how the district arrived at the finalists, and it is not by random. Initially, the site-based schools, your peers or your colleagues, they identify who they want to represent their school site for the particular
Okay.
Ida S. Baker Instructional Support of the Year and Teacher of the Year. So
Mhm.
it is a voting system, and then they identify who gets to represent the school. From that point, everyone that's nominated from their school site has the choice to submit application to be considered as the district representative. So I've never done it before. I've won the awards, the nominations at my school site numerous times, but I
Right.
just never went through the process. And I was kind of voluntold, you're going to do it this time because you get ready to come out of this school district very shortly, being that I'm at 27.4 years. So
Ooh.
with that being said, I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I did it, and miraculously, I guess you could say I arrived at being one of the 3 finalists. And again, it was a great experience. I do know that.
Wait. Just one second. I do this and it's quiet, but what are you doing, Mona?
I'm
He said,
sorry, I didn't see you.
it's like you said she
You done?
was one of the 3
Mona
finalists,
was
and I'm like,
listening.
all right, I'm sorry, but Mona
My screen is
usually is away.
so small. My screen is so small, I can't see it.
Oh
Okay.
wow. Yeah, so
I'm
it
sorry.
was definitely a great experience. I will say that, I say God always has a sense of humor with me. He always picks
Ooh.
me. And
Uh-huh.
I say that in a sense of it can be done better. I will say that whole process can be done better in a sense to say that there are so many unknowns on what's going on in efforts to arrive at the winner. Like, is there a rubric? Is there a specific something that they're looking for? Like, you just don't know, because when it boils down, I'm gonna tell you, am I angry about the final results? Absolutely not. Because one thing my pastor has taught us on, and that's our theme this year, that we must have continual movement, continual momentum, because it's my continuous ministry. It is what it is. I'm going to continue to do the work, but some things just don't add up, because how can X happen when Y has equivalency that just does not match? It does not match. But I'm going to table it there and, continue to move forward in the work. But it was definitely a great experience.
Well, let me show the video of you and just talking about the experience. I don't know if it was before. I think it was after. It was after. And I think that's what impressed me the most. Share.
Oh,
She's in the car, y'all.
yes, I am.
And she's just talking, and then she does this a lot. Wherever she's at, she just throws that phone up and she just starts talking to you about whatever is going on at the moment. That's what I love about April.
After the Hillsborough Education Foundation Excellence in Education Award ceremony, where I was one of the 3 finalists for the Ida S. Baker. Didn't take home the win, but I definitely won. The experience was definitely one that I will never forget. It was a lot. And congratulations to those that won Ida S. Baker, Teacher of the Year, and Instructional Support of the Year. Definitely takes a lot of work being a public servant in public education. So the work definitely does not stop here. There is so much to be done, and I will continue to do outside of the school setting in my community and bring those resources back into the school. It goes well beyond the heartstring stories for me. It definitely takes a lot of time, effort, and work to go beyond those classroom doors and the school's sites. So again, yep, I will continue to do my big ask to the community. definitely got to get these kids to Washington D.C. because we were put on blast, and I'm so glad I was not held completely accountable for that by myself. That would also be Erlisha to come to the front of the classroom,
Yes.
and Denise to come to the front. Thank you for all those from my school site that came out to support. And and it was some overage, meaning that there was some overlap where they were representing, came out to support more than just myself, others, excuse me, from other school sites as well. So again, another win, and more ways than has revealed itself yet. But the win is here. The overflow still has not changed. It exists. It will continue to be just that. And again, I was reminded, never get caught up. Never get caught up in what man says. From my good old preacher friend, that good old Denise. So it was good. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to get these lashes off, the red lips.
All right. We're not going to go through the lashes off and
You look,
whatever else.
you look
I
gorgeous.
was so
You
I
look
was so
gorgeous, and
impressed.
I like the red lips. I love the red lips.
Yeah, I was so impressed with
So
how you handled the whole thing from when they approached you in the classroom until after, and you sitting in the car saying it was a win. And it was a win for all of us, actually. So, and the way that you recognize your sidekicks in the battle. So, and the fact that you said, just like in the book from the early, there's work to be done, a
That's
lot of
right.
work to be done. So, my hat's off to you, lady, for sure.
you know
For
one
sure.
thing that I recognize about I don't know April that well. Just really just from Facebook, little but when I do see her, she's always it's we. It's never me. It's we.
Always.
It's her team, and I do know her team. Yes, it's her team, and she and they those three, and I just really recognize her with three females. They work well together. They work well together,
Yeah,
and they
they really
complement.
do.
They all. Mhm.
It's so
And
fun.
that's very important because
And
if we get a lot of times individuals get caught up so much in the I, what I am doing, what
yes,
I accomplish, and that's why we get so caught up
yes,
in not being able to get the work done, effectively and in a timely fashion because I'm so worried about what they're doing and the credit that they deserve. They
Mm,
deserve,
mm,
and then we get distracted about what's needed for the children. And I just feel that I keep my focus on the kids. And if
yeah,
it's not something that's
yes,
beneficial for the children, I'm not interested. I'm really not. And
yeah,
it's so, and sometimes that
right.
could be one of my biggest flaws because, when things are brought to me and they may be grand ideas and they're great and they can have, an impact outside of what my focus is, and that's the kids. If it's not going to better the kids, if it's not going to provide some type of new opportunity for them to create a new lens for them. Because again, the kids that I have served from day one in my career have always been our high needs kids. I've never
yeah,
been in an affluent school. I don't even
yeah,
know what that feels like. I've
yeah.
always been in a school where the majority of the children look like me, except for when I worked at Adams for a few years. The majority of the kids did not look like me. However, the ones that did out of Suffolk Springs and when Riverview Terrace was in place at the time,
Mm-hmm.
they definitely had the most needs within the school. So therefore, that small population basically presented itself as the majority when they were the minority. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it just if we could just get out of our own way, when it comes to, you know, before I run down that rabbit hole, we got so much going on in politics right now. And you all can't even imagine that every day before I go to sleep and when I wake up, I am praying, God, what is it that our children are feeling when they seeing all this crazy?
Yeah.
Like, is anybody
Enough.
even thinking about
Yeah.
that? Because a lot of our kids at my school site are Hispanic.
Yeah.
Imagine what they feel
Mhm.
like every single day. Yes, they're
Yeah.
masking it well. They make it look good, but these children went through hell and back. I'm here to say it because it's a lot.
But it's kind of interesting because the thing about it is we can imagine it as Black people in America.
We can, yes.
We can imagine it. So as we watch it happen, we understand it. We get it. So you're in the schools with the students. You posted a post the other day, and I had seen it before. So I was like, "Ooh, April found this post. This is a really good post." But it's the little boy in the back seat crying. I don't know if you remember, not Hispanic, Asian boy in the back seat crying.
Oh yeah. Oh, that tore me up. When one of his peers had not accused him, had identified him being a illegal immigrant, and he was like torn apart because he was like, I am a U.S. citizen. I was born here. I don't know why they're looking for to be not kind to me because just of what I look like. And again, that it kind of sparked my me to go back to say, but those are conversations that I've been having with my twins forever. Yeah. There's certain things you got to do, can't do, because it's just the way of the world. And now, and maybe it's just the empathy in me to see other children now experiencing that.
Right, but they're experiencing it. But again, your children got the talk, right?
You're right.
They don't get the talk because the families are too busy assimilating, and all of a sudden now white America is saying, no, you are different. And so now they're getting what I call, and you don't have to call it this, I call it Black people treatment. Now they're getting that and they don't understand it. So the parents are now having to have the talk when they themselves don't even understand why they're being rejected in such mass numbers. But I thought that was really interesting to say, let me
comment on that. I didn't see that video, but you said it was an Asian kid, and he said he was born here. But a lot of these Hispanic kids are born here, and nobody cares.
Nope.
His parents, some of the Asian parents, aren't caring. I'm not saying that they're indifferent. It's not knocking the door just yet. So it happened to their son, because the white fella doesn't know the difference between, all he knows is you don't look like us.
That's correct.
That is correct. That is correct. And you got to wonder, because there's such a high number of Hispanic minority in general in the school district right now. I don't know if they're the majority yet or not.
Last I think it was like 47%. So very close. But that was at the beginning of, that's just off the top of my head, from the beginning of last year, not this current school year, but last year. So I haven't kept up with it for this year, but I'm pretty sure it's probably there.
Yeah, but I'm going to take you back a little bit with all that you've experienced. And I used to follow you in your Jennings days as well, when you and Denise did the podcast, and just, it's just so much. Why are you in teaching? Why do you teach? What drove you to decide I want to be a teacher? And then what drives you to stay?
So, to be honest, I started my career in education in what I used to do in my past life, which was nail specialty. I used to own a salon. So I started my career by developing the curriculum at D.W. Waters Career Center for nail specialty and facial program underneath the principal, Mr. David Best. Mr. David Best's daughter and I were very good friends, and we went to college together. So when they were beginning to move towards developing career centers, which D.W. Waters Career Center was the first one, that's how I ended up in education. Just had got married, just had bought a home. That nail tech, it just wasn't bringing home consistent money. So it was like, okay, let's do both. So that's how I ended up in education. So after 5 years at D.W. Waters Career Center, might have been 6, 5 to 6 years at D.W. Waters Career Center, my unit was cut because based upon popularity of the program, or if an administrator just decides that they don't want a program at their school site anymore. I don't know which of the two it was, because my program was always at capacity, but I ended up in Adams Middle School, and it was discovered that I had a major that could align with teaching what was it? Social studies at the time, a history class. And then I ended up taking the test for middle school integrated, so I could teach anything. I could teach all subject areas. So, and then when I got there at Adams, it was just like, what is happening in education? Like, if I leave, am I abandoning these kids? If I leave, is there going to be someone like me to be able to, you know, be a voice? And I wasn't really loud at that moment. I just was doing what I do at the school site, you know, when kids didn't have parents to show up when they were being suspended. Hey, why are you suspending this kid? Mom can't come. Can we call? Can we go touch? You know, those extra little tidbits. And I just got stuck. And, you know, most educators stay in the field of teaching because of the great scheduling. We're off in the summer in most cases, unless you choose to work. You have those 2 weeks off for, you know, winter break, a week off for spring break. I mean, it's really convenient.
It's attractive.
But, yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. But my passion has always been to better a child. And we know that it's always stated, well, the parents. Well, if I gave you a history of what my parents were, then I should be sitting here in my own home being identified and certified as a teacher, because both of my parents were, you know, addicted to crack. The crack took them out. My grandparents raised me. Neither one of them had a high school education. Neither one graduated from high school. So therefore, I could have very well been a statistic, but I had a teacher that saw enough in me to make sure that I got across the stage. So therefore, we can't, I get it. Parents, I get it. They are responsible. Yes, they are. But in most cases, the children that I've served over the years, they're just not there. Fine. What are we going to do to help them? We can't keep focusing on what the parents not doing.
When you say, what are we going to do? Who are you talking about? We.
Myself as an educator, community leaders, whoever it may be that can have a stake in this whole conversation, because the children have changed. I will say that as well. And that's because, what little bit of parenting that was happening, it's about just gone. So I don't know who really, you know, how to even say that we want parents to even, you know, try to fix what they have already left themselves being broken. So we have to look at the bigger picture and all of it. But again, do what we can do in the school at 100%. Do what we can do collectively as a community 100%. And we already know that village, that it takes a village. It's a new way of work.
So are you saying the village is dysfunctional or broken? What are you saying about the village?
So where is the village?
Okay, it's missing in action.
Yes.
Oh, where is the village? All right, so we talked about courage in writing things that people usually want to avoid earlier, and now we're going to talk about courage in the community and courage in the classroom. And from what I can tell, and Mona said she doesn't know you that well, I feel like I know you. I feel like we're friends, so I'm just going to talk as
yes, I
know,
I know her,
but I follow her so much.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Social media, and
see
her at different events. I do see her at different events.
Right.
I don't know
and
if
I
I've
need
ever been
something,
to anything.
Yeah. If I need something, or I need a question answered, or whatever, I can call April, and she's going to be right there to answer it and make it happen. So I feel like I know you.
Yes.
And I find you to be one of the more courageous educators that are out there, especially this color, Black. And it's hard to be courageous in this day and age. It's very difficult to be courageous. Heck, it was hard to be courageous a few years ago when y'all were very outspoken about what was going on at Jennings. But it's even harder to be courageous and to stand up for our children. but you do that. But you also challenge us, the community, to do better. I see that in your posts all the time. It's like April just has no shame. She's coming for us. But for the most part, what is it that you want from us, the community, for the children? You're on the inside. See, I'm on the periphery, but you are on the inside. Given what you see coming down the pipeline, especially with they're messing around with the Title I dollars and so on and so forth. Tell us what you see and what you think we need to be doing. And we're going to need a little courage here from you to put it out there.
So one thing that I have always felt that we need as a community is to show up. And that don't mean show up and just sit, show up and have those courageous conversations around what is happening to our children in the public school setting. Number one, as it relates to discipline. We already know that the fighting is occurring in the communities. We already know that the fightings will carry over into schools. And we know a lot of that is just deriving from social media. So again, we need to know what if we're not the majority in the school setting, so to speak, then how do we continuously being shown up as the majority as it relates to the disciplinary actions? And it's not just Hillsborough County. Be clear, this is a nationwide thing, and we know the why. But in response to that, what do we expect our district to be doing in order to bring about corrective measures? Because we keep talking about it. We keep talking about the disproportionate disciplinary.
Hold on there, April, because yeah, this is where we have to really figure this out, because we hear this all the time, and I do hear you say this, particularly, yes, during June. Think of something different. We have to figure out something different. When you say the community.
So when I'm saying the community,
who is responsible? Hold on. Who is responsible for these kids? How do we engage the parents?
Great question.
Wherever they're coming from, whatever household they're coming from, how do we engage them to take better control of the situation? And it could be less, because I've been hearing you say this, and we have not solved this issue. So we have to do something different. So how do we engage and encourage these parents, and maybe start not in the 6th grade, but these parents who have kids now that's coming in at 3, what they call that, early childhood or something. Start engaging these parents to raise these kids a little bit different, because at the end of the day, they're responsible first. I can't believe that we still have issues. It's hard for me to understand, really. It's hard for me, because I don't know. I've never even seen a fight in a school. And you guys keep all this stuff is going on in the school. Now, we have to do 2 things at one time. Get the parents on track what they do, and whatever the system isn't doing correctly.
So it's twofold. Number one, this is all, and I debate with Erlisha and Area. I'm gonna say Erlisha, Area, and Denise about this all the time. That's my core group of people that I can vent to with this without no judgment. But I'm just gonna say it this way: it's twofold. Mm-hmm. When they at school, their hours, period, point blank. We have to establish systems, procedures, strategies that work for each specific school site. Done. Parents don't have no control over that. If you have classroom management, if you develop a relationship with the parents, in most cases intentionally, not a one call every now and then, and you have an administrator that supports you and a student support services team that's actually doing the work, it's simple. That's bottom line when they're on the campus. Now, when you have a child that is continuously disruptive, continuously providing threats to an educator and so on and so forth, then we move them to a different level, a change of environment. And at that point, then maybe we could
And how
require
many
the
kids?
parent.
And how many kids do you have at that level? And that when I see kids, I can remember talking to one of my customers. It was probably in the 90s, and she's getting her hair done, and the school called, and she said, "Hey, they're getting on my freaking nerves, calling me every day. He doesn't act like this at home." And I simply said to her, 7 years old, I have to, we're going to interview them because she tells me all the time. I say, listen, don't go there yelling. Don't do this. And I mean, he was like a fourth grade. He was in, because Robles is an elementary school because he was in elementary. I say, here's what I think the thing is. At home, we tend not to have structure. It's no bad. They do what the parents tell them to do. They might not do it immediately, but they will do. You might have to ask them most times. But inside of that classroom, it is structure. You come in, you do this, you sit down, you do this, and we are not teaching our children to do that. So we could change that. Is why we're having these behaviors. I see. So you have to give him a little bit of structure. You raise your hand. You just can't talk. You got to do whatever, and we have to help them be successful. Have we failed as parents, not communities, not the community, but as parents in the household? And I basically have to say, black mothers.
It's across the board. You would be surprised without me getting into details about that. It's across the board. This current generation of children are just indifferent than what I've ever seen in my entire career. And I know most educators will attribute to that, because if we look at how the new phrase is, there is a teacher shortage. Absolutely not. Teachers did not die and there became a shortage. We're just choosing not to take the crap anymore. And the crap is not, in most cases, I hate getting into the pay thing. I'm not going to touch that. Yes, we want to be paid. But again, and I hate getting into the, teachers know what goes with the amount of pay that we do it from the heart. That too. But now the behaviors from some of the children are so extreme. It's not one or two little Johnnies and Susans in the classrooms anymore. It's like about 5 to 10. And once you get that 5 to 10 with your ratio of about 30 in the classroom, it's out of control then. And the behaviors are aggressive. We could deal with a lot of the talking about what you're going to do and so on and so forth. But nowadays, these kids are getting your face, and you feel like if I don't respond, they may very well hit me. So with that being said, I'm going to hit you first, or I'm going to defend myself first, so that you don't lay me out in this classroom or wherever it may be. And then I'm video across the world or whatever it may be. So there's no teacher shortage. A lot of teachers are just deciding enough is enough.
So,
well, I do. You guys, when I hear what you guys are going through, and I hear this, it's unimaginable. It's just unimaginable.
So April.
So we do have to honor people like you.
So April, yeah. So suspension rates. And I know that it used to be, when I used to kind of hang out a lot of these community things that would come to these town halls or whatever, and they just never seemed to go anywhere, in my opinion. And suspension rates was always an issue, and the community would be mad because of the Black boys and whatever else. And then I listened to you about the kids and their behavior, and what's your position on, and because I've been in schools where kids a child is so out of control and the behavior is so egregious that you have nothing else to do but to suspend this child. Here I am, community coming in and saying, and anybody who wants to have a problem with that isn't in this school trying to get control. Now, I even have to suspend kids out of my program from time to time because I can't get learning. In our program, the kids are actually, we're supporting the state standards. So if the teachers are teaching something in class, we're doing something in the garden that sort of reinforces that. And if we are going to have a heavy sort of instructional lesson in that after school program that day, there might be 2 or 3 kids that I say, you will not come today. I'll go to the teacher, have so-and-so go home because I don't have time to spend on behavioral. This is January. And then I go talk to the parent, and I talk to the child, and I've already talked to the teacher to say, we've got to get your decision-making in check, because our program, to your point earlier, Mona, is not rules-based. It's very Montessori-like, which means the children have opportunities to make good and bad decisions. Once I identify it as a bad decision, you've got to correct it. Right. And then we don't need to see it anymore. Well, with these children, we see it quite a bit, but you get a lot of chances. But you get a lot of chances in that redirection. So we're redirecting all the time. But at some point, you
can't expect him to have lived a certain for so many years, 8, 9 years, and you think he's going to redirect in 3 months, 2 months. It's not going to happen. We got to be. That's why I said we need to start now, because we see this is happening. We can see the data.
So the children in our program,
the children
have
at 3
to
years
already have the propensity for leadership. They don't have to be perfect, but we spend the first 6 months just working on that. By the second 6 months, we are doing things that are more into when we plant this seed, here's what happens, here's what germination means, here's what blah, 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 whatever, here's what a flower has and how that compares to your body and whatever else. So we're doing those types of lessons. And some of the kids on certain lessons, because I know it's going to take a lot of autonomy in terms of, and sort of, they have to be able to work on a team without us telling them, sit here, don't do this, do that. We can't do that. And the kids know this. The kids know this. Now, I would imagine that's us in an after-school program. When it gets to suspension for some of the kids, you've probably gone through a whole lot before you got to that point, right?
Well, that's what should happen. And the assumption is that happened. And there is protocol of what should happen. But it still goes back to, yes, trust me, I wholeheartedly understand the need for when suspensions occur. However, there still is a huge disproportionality that is happening that should be curtailed, because majority of the teachers don't look like us. So a lot of that cultural competency is just not there. So the same thing, 2 different children could be doing the same thing in a class. One child will get removed quicker than the other. Or one child will be provided a lot more leniency than the other. That's what I'm referencing when I'm referring to suspensions in that respect. Right. But I do, and I understand suspensions. However, when I know that, and I've done it many a times, that when I know a child is getting ready to be suspended, for too many horseplays. You've been in the office several times a day, and your consistency is you was horseplaying in this class, and you was playing in that class, and you was playing. Well, that means at home, they probably don't ever get an opportunity to play, because they're probably having to take care of 4 or 5 siblings. So this is their time to play. Is it excusable? Absolutely not. But does it warrant a suspension? No. Let's put them in another classroom. They sit on campus and do work, so it's a more safe environment, because sometimes we're putting kids in, a line of fire by just having them home in the community all day, unmonitored, because parents still have to go to work. That is what it is. So, and I get it. We can go, full circle with these conversations again and again. But what I also need for community to do is, We talk about mentorship all the time. We talk about it. We show up in groves and these various colors and these letters that's, contributed to greatness, where all of them have a pillar of education in their programming. Well, Jennings serves over 80% of our population comes right out of 33610. Why? Because all of our East Tampa schools are magnet schools, where only a small percentage of those children are part of the magnet program. So that's your Williams, that's your Young, that's your Sly, that's your Orange Grove. So all of those kids, they don't get to necessarily go to their homes, their community school. They're bused out to Sefner, and whether that be what is the name of that school? I want to say Burnett. It's either Burnett or Jennings. That's where they're at. Grant Park, 34th, 22nd. Come on.
Yeah.
So if we're mentoring, don't get stuck at the elementary schools that are not necessarily your magnet schools. The ones that need you also is out there at Jennings. We need you. We need you. It's a little further drive. There's no bus route for parents. There's an Uber or their own car. So we need you all to come see about us too over at Jennings. Where
but what is that? What is that? We need you look like? What would you need me to do?
Mentorship. That looks like being in alignment with our initiatives that we have. Attendance is one of the initiatives that all schools are, attacking, because we just have poor attendance. It is what it is. Ever since COVID, attendance never got back to where it needed to be. Is it better? Yes, but true. Where it needs to be, no. So we have an attendance initiative. We have a mentorship initiative. We have a enrichment program initiative. And what does that mean? We're not able to host after school programs at our school site. Why? Because we have 26 buses that bus our kids home. How would they get home?
Yeah.
We don't have funding to provide funds for a bus to take the kids home. So our kids can't stay after school. They have to go home. So there's no extracurricular activities for those, which is the majority, to participate in the sports. We have a garden club. You have several teachers that host clubs that would be willing to stay after school, but they can't load them up in their car and take them home. So how would they get home? And then we also have our mobile clothing closet. We also have our school uniform closet. So again, there are so many ways that we can support the youth at schools like Jennings, because there are others. But again, I think a lot of times community get caught in the safe grades, which is elementary. Elementary schools are in most cases are over flooded with mentorship programs. Your core groups of letters and colors, they're flooded to go visit with those kids. And it may be because they're less intimidating. But again, our children that are soon to be young adults, and going into high school and soon to be young adults, those are the ones that we are losing rapidly. Look at the news. Look at it.
Well, April, you just said a thing right here, because I wasn't aware that the kids that live in District 5, that middle school, the majority of them are getting shipped away from Williams, Young, and now that's crazy. See, and that's why I say it's a systematic issue, and these people know that. And we're under a democratic system. This is why I get so mad with the Democrats, because they know exactly what they're doing. They can bust their children from over there. For what? It doesn't make sense. Because I was just going to say, you mean to tell me you can't reach out to the Deltas, the Omegas, the Links? They all these schools.
I agree.
But when would they be able to come? When would they be able to come to your school during elective or what? Because you don't have after school program.
So we establish push-in programs where we do things during their lunchtime. If it's a mentorship opportunity, we create scheduling opportunities where if we know a child is struggling in the classroom and they can't get through a day without being put out, then we have to prioritize that child's mentor coming on campus, being able to, support them in, that mind space to ask those questions that they're not able to be receptive to us with responding, to say, why are you getting put out of a classroom every single day because of your extensive behaviors? And yes, we know about all the adverse childhood experiences, the ACEs. We know that. We understand that. But still, there is something more to be offered to that child because they lack support from, and I'll say home and community. When they arrive on that campus, they're ours. They're ours. And yes, it is not easy in Title I, Renaissance schools, and Transformation Network schools. It's not. And I do want to put one other thing out there before we go.
Do middle
Say that
school
again.
have do middle schools have, I don't know what you call them, maybe social workers or counselors?
Yes, we have social workers, and in most cases, social workers are assigned to more than one school.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
really?
true. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're not
That's
there
middle,
every day.
that's middle and
Okay.
elementary school. Yeah.
So our social worker is new to our campus and new to our district, and she is assigned to our school. But it's definitely going to take this year alone to learn the way of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right. Yeah. Well,
So community, I think, is really important, and I agree with the mentorship program, because even with the kids that we have in our program, if a kid is acting out in our program and they're not usually acting out, or it's an unusual amount, then we can talk to the teacher, but we also talk to the social worker. And we also talk to the community, because it's a community school, the community liaison person. So we surround this child to figure out what is wrong. The community piece, though, is important, because they don't see it. We do, because that kid looks like me, right?
Right.
I know there's something wrong here. And then I start asking the questions. And then I also talk to the mom. The importance of community, and this is really to listeners, is just critical.
Yes.
And it is what is lacking in our schools. And you're right, elementary better than middle school. Everybody abandons the child. And by middle school, everybody abandons their responsibility for that child. Elementary, you can't, because that child has to be supervised on some level somewhere. But by the time they get to middle school, it's like parents are even saying, "You're on your own." You know,
Yes.
I gotta go do this. It's harder. I watch that, and I have to say to my parents in elementary, you got to follow this child all the way from here into high school. You've got to stay with your.
That's when they're needed most, because they are, definitely relying on their peers for information that their parents are not, or a guardian is not provided to them. And then that's how they get in trouble with making very poor choices, because a lot of like at one point there was on the news probably almost it was like a 3 to 4 week span where you saw a child had been arrested in Hillsborough County for some type of weapon. And yes, I get that. I understand that. But my question always become, why did that child feel the need to bring a weapon to school? What happened? What was missed? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't a one-day thing. Oh, today I'm just going to bring a weapon to school. That's rare. And if you're in a school and you're really paying attention, you will see children. And I know one young man, it was two-parent home, out of the ordinary. Just simply indicated he did not feel safe, and that boys were threatening him, and blah, 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 blah. And it had been brought to attention of, and the stories go on. Yes, there needs to be a consequence, but that definitely, anyway, yeah, because we have destroyed.
Do you think the kids are being bullied and they bring it? And in my opinion, it is different from when we bring a gun to school versus when they bring a gun to school. Because when they bring a gun to school, they're trying to the whole school. We bring a gun to school, we're trying to protect ourselves. Now, I'm not saying either is right, but
right, I agree with that. So and we're looking at statistics. Statistics it says what it says. And we don't have to go, dive deep into that. It is what it is. That's what statistics shows. And in most cases, you are absolutely correct in that respect. But again, I just think that community, look, if no other school asks for help in that area, Jennings need the community support, because our kids are leaving their community every day. And then when they leave community, they don't have support from their community. They don't.
I didn't even know where
Yeah,
Jennings
that's
was,
so,
and
yeah, that's
I was
unfair.
going
I've
down.
been asking where's Jennings,
Yeah,
and
I
how
didn't even
does
know
that
where it was.
how
And
does
then I
that
was
look?
driving
How
down Williams. I was driving down Williams, and I was like, "There's Jennings." And this was like 2 weeks ago. It was like,
And you know why you know now?
"There's
Because we
Jennings
have a new
right there."
sign. That's the only reason why you know.
That because I saw a sign, but I've
That's
driven
it.
down Williams before. But it was like, "There's Jennings right there." It's like, who knew that's
So
where you
to
guys
give
were
you
talking about?
location, you know where the bus garage is off of Harney Road,
Yeah,
Harney and
I do.
Williams Road at that corner. I'm telling Mona.
Honey Road. I'm trying to see Honey Road
Tanoda
off
Sassa.
of
Yeah, I
In the
was gonna
heart of
say
Tanoda
it's the
Sassa.
Sassa.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
trying to
off of
go
the
to
corner
Honey
of
Road
Harney
from
Road and Williams Road is one of the is the original bus garage for transportation for the Hillsborough County, and that's where it sits at. We're less than 3 minutes away from there. And you probably remember it as Orange Groves. That's all that was back there forever, is Orange Groves. But now they are evolving. You got new townhomes, you got new 250K homes back up in there. Several communities have evolved since I've been there
Yeah,
in
that's
years.
Toulon. I
Toulon.
know it because my sister lives in that area, Ebert Road. And I don't even know why we were going down that road, but I was like, oh my God, Jennings is right here. Who knew? And even my nephew, he did not go. Where did he go? He didn't go to Jennings. He's in that area, but he did not go to Jennings.
He probably went to Burnett, unless he went to a private school.
Actually, he went to a magnet school. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah.
But he was in a magnet school.
So, April,
Let me ask you. Go ahead, Mona.
April, what would happen once that community out there build up? I guess they'll build a new school, but if they don't build a new school, what are they going to do with our children?
Well, they definitely are not going to build a new school because Jennings isn't at capacity. Jennings has never been at capacity since I've been there, because that school could very well be in alignment with other middle schools that hold 1,000 or more kids. We're not at those numbers. We're at between 650, 670, somewhere in that area. So we're not at what they would consider capacity. So I don't see them building a new school. Now, I have been asking myself, what is going to happen as these new communities or these new subdivisions are, being built? And what I have discovered is, even with the 3 that I've been there since, that has been built since I've been there, majority of them just don't send their kids to Jennings. They go to magnet schools or they go to charter schools.
Which is the point I made about my nephew.
Yeah.
He did not go to Jennings. He went to a magnet school. Right?
So I would assume that they would do some rezone again, like they did when a lot of our kids now go over to Greco that was going to Jennings. They did that rezoning, and then now we lost probably like about 200-300 kids, if I'm not mistaken, and they went over to Greco when they did that rezoning a few years back. So I have no idea what that would.
What do you think about this? I think it's called Schools of Hope, that will share schools with some of our under enrolled schools.
So I am very troubled by Schools of Hope.
Me too.
I think that we continue to allow public education to be, positioned to where funding keeps being just stripped away, and all the what little autonomy or power that we have, in public educations, to be able to provide the best of what we can for our students in these schools. We just keep allowing it to just fall through our fingers. Schools of Hope schools, whatever you call it, it's just going to be another, in my opinion, manipulative situation where there will be prizes dangled at families to say, I'm going to provide your child with this and that, and new laptops and new gift cards, and come into our communities and do very strategic marketing schemes, what I refer to them as. And then when they get tired of the kids, or they're not doing exactly what they want them to do, like they do in charter, goodbye. And They start their process all over again. The difference now is get to house in the same school as a current school that is already in place called co-locating, and they don't have to pay any of the overhead. They don't have to pay for transportation. They don't have to pay for building space.
Crazy.
They don't have to
Right.
pay for
Right.
lunch. They don't have to pay for cafeteria. They don't have to pay for officer. So it is the best deal there is out there in public education. And we're not paying attention.
School for Hope. It's School for Hope. I don't know if that's what it's called, but I have been hearing about sharing, particularly at Robles, where they're saying it's occupied at 50%. They would take over the other. But isn't it all public education? It's not private.
Well, you can look at it from that lens, but when you have let's say for instance, Jennings is not on the list, but let me just use Jennings. So being that our school is not at capacity. So let's say for instance there are 500 seats that Mona's School of Joy is going to come and provide at the school. So Mona's School of Joy could come and say, okay, I'm going to provide my teachers with X amount of salary, and they get to have X amount of planning periods, and we're going to only go to school for 4 hours a day.
Well, they could do that.
Yeah, it's their own school. They can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, these are two different schools sharing the same space.
I know they're two different schools, but there are two different they're public schools.
See, but you're looking at it from a lens of the funding piece of it. All of the funding comes out of public school funding. However, that school is a separate entity being housed at a school that is owned by Hillsborough County Public Schools. They can even name their own, they will name their own school. They just will be housed at their co-locating, like a roommate.
Yeah. I'm with Carved Out.
But what's wrong with that?
These are schools.
If that is something that some of our parents could want that, and some will want the tradition. What's wrong with that? To have options.
So the question is, what's right with that, and what would they be receiving indifferent than what they will receive in public school, in the traditional school that the child is already at?
Well, they're saying that they're supposed to be getting.
That's what they've been saying. Everything you get ready to say, they've been saying.
I don't want to say this, but they said they're supposed to get better education.
Yeah.
When they're,
so how you get better? I just want to know how you get better education with
non-certified teachers. Just shut that up, because that stuff hasn't flown. That don't fly. Anyway, Carved Out Diva says these are schools of nope.
They are nope.
Schools of nope. So April, couple minutes. We got a couple minutes. Title I funding, what's going on with that? And should we be worried in Black communities?
Listen, I am not touching Title I funding topic. I'm not a Title I expert. Oh, everybody went off. Are we here?
I cannot. You froze on us.
Is that my Wi-Fi? Yes, it probably is.
So I will say this: you're not a Title I expert. You're not touching it. That's what we heard.
Okay, yeah. What I will say is this: Title I funding across the state of Florida is being impacted by the cuts. It is what it is.
Say that one more time. I didn't hear. What
is Title I funding across the state, across the nation, just being cut? It's just part of your project. What is it called? Project. That's when Denise comes on. She be adding in things that I be missing. Am I choppy? Because y'all looking at me like I'm breaking up.
Yeah, you are choppy.
Yeah,
you're choppy. But I think you're saying
the fund is just being cut.
It's being cut as a part of Project 2025.
And what does that look like? What does that look like? It's subjects.
What does that look like?
Are being cut.
So, for example, with and I can only speak to what I know for at my school site.
Yeah.
So, for example, when you had Title I funds and you were allocating a certain amount of funds to be able to do additional programming or provide additional technology equipment or provide whatever it is, additional supports for kids based upon the number of students or students at the school, that funding just was like limited down to almost nothing. So, for instance, if we like for last year, we were able to provide students with opportunities to go to field trips that they necessarily wouldn't be exposed to because of the lack of funding that parents could not provide. Well, that's no
Right.
longer this year. If we can't figure out how to provide it, we won't go.
Like through
And we didn't
PTA
do
or
just for
something
one,
like that.
we didn't do for a class, we did it for a whole school, the whole 6th grade class, the whole 7th grade class, the whole 8th grade class. They just won't go. So right now we're not marked to take any field trips this year. And if we, and for those that are pinned to go, they must be field trips where we're only responsible for the bus. Like when we go to the USF College of Engineering field trip, that's a free field trip. So the only thing we will be responsible for is the bus. And in that instance, I would, as the community resource teacher, seek out funding from community support to be able to help us support with the cost for the bus. Because all community schools aren't treated equal. I want us to know that they're not. Some community schools are funded.
When you guys want the bus to go on a field trip, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we use the bus, when we use the bus as well, we will do field trips to go to the urban farm, each and urban. We have to figure out how we're going to pay for that bus. We got to get it at the right time, and it's got to be paid for.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
So
those are tasks that I am, put before me on a day-to-day, a weekly, a monthly, because again, some transformation network, and I'm saying some community schools are a part of the UPI schools where they are funded or allocated funds up to $100,000 per year. And some schools like myself, we're getting no funding. So all things partnership, donors, and sponsorships are all based upon who I can get to buy into and invest in our children over at Jennings Middle School.
And I think that's going to get more and more difficult, increasingly difficult to, because you're going to have to make up for where the money is being taken and given to other schools on block grants for schools where anyway, I'm not an expert on it either, but I'm trying to follow it to see what in fact we need to be telling our community relative to what our kids are going to need over the next 5-10 years. Whereas funding gets, as we're more and more losing funding because of these vouchers that are taking money elsewhere, and some of our kids will take it and go. Anyway, April, this was great. Great conversation.
Thank you for having me.
And now you and Mona are friends too.
I see her all the time. I'm just saying.
Oh, Mona, stop trying to explain it. I know what you're saying. I'm just teasing you.
And I do follow her. I want to ask her. So, April, what could we do? Because I do not like the fight, and it's just the need is just so great. Because I kind of sponsor, work with Potter, and
Potter's a UPI school. They're one of the schools that receive that $100K.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Now, how do you guys agree
for the what is UPI? UPI is
you don't need extra money.
So UPI is when they are underneath a community school program through a college. So USF and UCF both are schools that provide that programming.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're always saying they need help. They're always saying they need money. They're always saying they need sponsors to sponsor certain things. And I know twice a year, it's through Keela, we sponsor something for the kids.
My concern, as we close this out, is that our schools in our community, as I look from one year to the next, at school grades, attendance rates, all of those things. We are frequently at the bottom. What I do notice in the schools that I get to participate in, some of our high performing Black students may be there for a year, maybe 2 years, but they then move out, choice out to other schools. There is a real need for community engagement. And I don't know if we as a community truly understand how lacking this, that our participation in what happens in those walls. We do not understand the magnitude. When I look at other schools, and I'm going to just call them other schools, like we're at the bottom, typically around DF schools, and they're at the top, typically around A schools consistently over the last 20 some odd years. I'm looking at what's the difference. And when I tell you community engagement, probably more community than they want, because I'm sure those helicopter parents and what have you on their nerves. I know I used to coach some kids at Sickles, but when the interest of the business community and the families is keen, and when you go online and you want to figure out, well, what is the neighborhood that I want to? They're actually ranking neighborhoods for people who want to relocate here.
That is correct.
And they're grading the neighborhood around that school. So community is key. And in the Black community, we are, back to your point earlier, missing in action. They are ever present. They are present. And yes, sometimes it does get on the district's nerve with their participation, but they are invested in those schools being A schools because it attracts the kind of people they want. And when our best and brightest leave to go to those communities, it continues to leave that deficit. And a lot of it is we keep moving out of the community, and when we are in the community, we do not invest in the community with our time or our treasure. And I just want to applaud you, because you are that person that I see, you and your little posse, Lisa, Alicia, and I didn't hear the other name. Yeah, you guys are ever ready, plugging in the holes, but there's too many of them.
Right.
Which means I think you mentioned what are the fraternities and sororities doing? What are they doing? And when they do, and I know they're all about service, but the quality of service for us, especially over the next 10 years, is going to be the difference. It can't just be service for service sake. It has to be service that's intentional, that is directed and consistent. There's a reason why I only have maybe 2 or 3 schools, and I'm there from one year to the next consistently. So even the kids that are not in my program, I can walk into school and get hugs and high fives from kids I don't even know what their names are. But it's the consistency. I feel like you need that.
I agree, because on our wall that identifies our partners and our sponsors and our donors, they're listed there. But just for example, we're now in what month we're in? We're in January. From August, I would just say from October to January, I can only say out of the probably 17 that's on the walls that we have identified as partners, sponsors, and donors, I've only seen 3 of them. The entire, So yes, the one, I get, if you're a donor, you're a donor. You want to provide something. You don't want nothing to be reciprocated for you. Just post that you donate, so on and so forth. But to identify yourself as a partner, you shouldn't have to be hunted down. And you can't expect me to have all the answers, and you can't put more work on my plate when I'm trying to get some off the plate. So again, I think that the word partner and sponsor have been used so loosely over time to where when it's defined, they don't necessarily understand that there's work. I need the work from you to help me to be able to meet these needs that I'm referencing, and that has been my biggest challenge in this new role that I'm in as a community resource teacher. It seemed
And I
like it
know
was
it.
easier when I was in the classroom. It really
Yeah,
does, because I can bug.
it's not like it's not like you're not asking. You're asking all the time, and all of us, we know you,
Well,
right?
Well, April, let me ask you this, because I can remember, and some people
This is
just
got,
probably
and you
don't
gotta,
know, right?
Mona, and you gotta close it out, okay? Close it out.
Okay, this will be the last question.
Okay.
I can remember when my daughter was going to starting school, elementary, and I was off on Tuesday, and I said I would volunteer, and I signed up to volunteer, and they wanted me to work in the library, and I was supposed to be there from 12 till school got out. And I just said, okay, I could do it because I have to pick her up anyway, right? But one day, I didn't feel like it. I think I was sick or I didn't feel like doing it. And I did not go. Well, the lady called me, the librarian. I felt some kind of way because she really,
I would have
really kind
too.
of chastised me and said that she was expecting, she relies on that. That gives her opportunity to go and do what she want to do, to read
Which is true.
the children's in the classroom, because she was counting on me to be responsible for the library from 12 till school
That's
got
right.
out. Now, nobody never told me nothing like this, and I'm doing this for free. But once she told me that, and do you know, I volunteered every Tuesday from the time she started kindergarten till she graduated from, and I never missed. And if I was going to be out, I let her know in advance. But have we let these? Tell us how we could reach out to you. Maybe you need to do a community meeting, and it's a lot of people. It's a lot of black
Ain't
people in
nobody
South
coming. They're not coming.
But I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. You're gonna tell me I could do something on a Thursday. Tell me what you could do. Tell me what you want.
So Thursday is actually our food pantry day. I have been asking for individuals to come and do our food pantry from 10 to 11. We need volunteers with monitoring that. And that is simply a person that's standing at the gate, greeting our parents saying welcome, or even the community welcome, checking their IDs, and then they come back and shop, or you could be in the pantry, just monitoring the shopping. Being that we have limitations on our bye weeks, meaning the amount of items that we have. That's the only time we really monitor the shopping. But other than that, everything's numbered. Our pantry stay pristine. It looked like a grocery store, even though the shelves are sometimes bare. But yeah, that's
All
the
right,
opportunity
so-
right there.
I'm gonna
So
see you this
April,
time.
April,
I'm
April,
gonna bring someone-
April, April,
I'm gonna see you this time.
April. Okay, that
someone with me
means
that
Mona, be
time-
quiet. Mona,
I'm sorry.
I really have to let April go. We're at 1:58. And
Yes.
you know what that means. April, we really enjoyed talking to you. And
Awesome.
we'd like to have you back at some point just to kind
Sure.
of give us an update on how things are going. We're going to be talking up community in schools. We really got to figure that out as resources get depleted as we move forward under this Project 2025.
I agree.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Right on time. All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She's so
Well, that was
good.
good.
at what she
Yeah,
does.
that was good.
It's the passion. It's the passion. That's what I tap into. Anytime that I see her doing whatever it is that she's going to do, whether it's she has a program called, it started out, oh God, I forgot.
I don't know the name, but I do see it. The summer program, something.
Yeah,
for girls,
it's a
and
summer
then
program.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah.
Blueprint.
Yeah.
Blueprint for
Blueprint, yes.
girls.
But we just have
Yeah.
to figure this out, and I don't understand why it's so difficult. I don't like
No.
when it be difficult. It's too
I
many
know,
of
but
us.
Black people are going to have to figure it out because in this new
Yes.
iteration of what America is going to be, we have to have a plan. We have to have a plan for our wealth,
Yes.
for our education, for our health care. We need to start developing that plan, which means we are going to have to start putting boots. Oh no, we got to go.
Did you
It's
get any?
kind of too late. It's 2 minutes. It's 2 hours. So we got to go.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much
Yeah,
for
hit it.
joining us. We really enjoyed you, and we will see you on Sunday. All right. I'm
Wednesday.
ending.
Isn't today Sunday?
Yeah, today's Sunday, so you're right. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Isn't it? Wednesday.
All right.